Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm doing a general message for Virgo. Now that energy is fluid, rules can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks and shadows to see how they play those karmic themes. I have to say, I like coming on and seeing that there's a lot of messages in the message bar. Sorry, I'm coming on a little bit late. I had a hot chocolate with milk, and let me tell you, my stomach is not is not happy with me. So, I might have to end this. I might have to end this sooner than sooner than later. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not. But yeah, like I have a kidney stone, so that kidney stone is disrupting other things on top of it. So, my stomach. That's what happens. Like you can kind of ignore when you have something, but then when you're out of balance, it starts to bleed into other areas. Just like, relationship problems, just like financial problems, right? Well, again, we have health issues. Everything is interactive, unfortunately. You can't run away from it. Yeah, it's like I know I had a kidney stone for a while, and it's like I have to go in for a big surgery, and it's annoying. And I've been dealing with that since I was a little kid because my mom used to lock us out of the house with no water all day, nothing to drink all day. She was one of those people that had to be like an extreme clean person, like obsessive compulsive clean person. So like someone that would clean the kitchen but then wouldn't let you go get a drink after because she was afraid that you'd mess up her kitchen. And understand that's a side effect of trauma, and trauma is inherited. When we feel so crazy inside, we feel the need to control our outside. So when you're around someone that is imbalanced, then you learn to, just live in balance because it's just easier, right? Because no one wants to deal with the trigger. And the trigger is when a person is like OCD, they have a lot of anxiety. That's the way they channel it a lot of times, through cleaning, through trying to control their environment. Unfortunately, she also tried to control everything else. And then, we can't control anyone except for ourselves. But, people that are stuck in their trauma, that's what they do. So, healing the effects of trauma is what we talk about on this channel. Not just we look at everything again, the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play as karmic themes, but we also, look and see what our person is thinking about when it's related to us and why they think the way that they think. But we go real deep because, whether you're going to be with this person today, um, again, maybe you're not going to be with them, in about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But, there's nothing worse than getting out of one karmic cycle to enter into the same karmic cycle just with somebody else. That's called a karmic loop. And that's also when you'll see like karmic curses, ancestral karmic curses. A lot of times we inherit them. And so it's all about not just how you're contributing to the imbalances and obviously embodying a new consciousness, but it's what are you supposed to do with that emotional energy? We go through these traumatic experiences that are really difficult to process on an emotional and psychological level. I don't know if you can hear my dog crying, but my dog is just crying. I don't know why. I've been asking it, why are you crying? Just looks at me, well, like almost like wants to go outside. So just ignore if you hear the dog crying. like, and so anyway, so what winds up happening? Yeah, I don't know why you're crying. And so it's about alchemizing that energy because you're a spiritual being, right? Having human experiences. So your body is part of the human experience. And so your body is the mind's faithful servant. See, the mind can transcend all time and space. So we know that when we meet a past life karmic mate, when we meet a soulmate, right? It's like, I don't know how I know you, but you feel real familiar, right? It's like that energy. It's felt in the heart and in the gut. So again, it's grounding, it's integrating. We have to embody a new consciousness to fully heal, meaning you have to again see yourself differently. And the only way is to fully ground it. All right. So you're the alchemist of your life. So on here you'll get not just the advice, but what you should do to heal those imbalances. But you inevitably have got to do it in order to see the effects. All right. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It's in the description box below. I wish I spoke your language. I don't speak your language. All right. So let's see. Stretch. Speaking. I know we're going to read these separate. Nature. And then we read them together. I don't know why I do it that way. Just do it that way. And this is take a walk today and consciously connect with Mother Earth. So more grounding energy. You're being asked to do what is truly best for you is what's best for all involved. And your willingness to learn new things will eliminate the agony of resisting. I feel like we've been getting like a lot of these like lately. And so, energy can stay with us for a day, a week, a year, but it's karmic lessons, things that you need to look at that will help you, and I want to look at a few wounds and then we'll put it all together. Now, this is just your energy before we jump into the relationship part of your reading. Because when you're on this channel, it's because, hey, you have spiritual blockages. And those spiritual blockages need to be healed, which means that you need to do your work in order to heal them. What you see is from those blockages that it plays out in relationships, it plays out in finances, it plays out in other areas of your life, but you have to heal the spiritual part in order to heal the physical part, that physical manifestation. So, healing is not a one-sided thing. It's very multi-dimensional. And this shows, look at this, karmic blockages. So this is what I was talking about, the karmic curse, and it will show up as repeated patterns or struggles, conflict, or unhealed emotional wounds that follow you across lifetimes. So it's this something that continues to repeat, and it's not just within relationship. I feel like it's also within finances. It's within other areas, but relationship, career, and growth. So cycles that feel impossible to break, like you keep reliving the same undesirable life experience. Now, that shows within, look at this, inner teenager shows up as almost like a rebellious part of you, like unresolved teenager womb. So I feel like a lot of you were brought up in an environment that was very constrictive. And it could have been constrictive because, hey, that was just our parents. They were just very strict, right? And, that a lot depends on what environment did your parents grow up in, right? And their perceptions. So there was a lot of this conflicted energy, like I love my parents, but they're so strict and they don't trust me and they're on top of me and so the problem with that is that when there's so much of that, then a person can't find themselves. We can find ourselves when we're in a relaxed environment and we feel supported. We're not really feeling supported if we're, around really strict and our parents could have really had the best intentions. They were like, well, this is what worked for us. This is what our perceptions are. And, they're coming from them. But when you have a parent that's like that, you're going to have problems with authority. You're going to have problems like really with other people, feeling like almost like you're misunderstood. or that people continually see you misunderstood. And so remember, it's the trauma that you felt growing up. So it's not really what truly happened. Like, it's how it made you feel, right? So if it made you feel unworthy, if it made you feel not strong within yourself, whatever that lower energy, underlining energy is. So why it needs to be looked at is because is because when there's a feeling of not, again, being able to connect to, it's like, you might have friends, but you don't have that relationship, that consistent relationship. You don't see that, and every time you get into a relationship, it may be with someone that's spiritually imbalanced, and so you never really feel safe with them. You continually see the same karmic cycle. Like, I get in a relationship with a person that doesn't never considers my feelings. They only consider their own feelings, or you know, they're not truthful. There's some sort of betrayal. There's some sort of victimization. Remember the lower energies, and so over time, it makes people feel like they can't trust. And so loneliness is really that. It shows up as deep feeling of isolation, disconnection, or longing for meaningful relationships. Again, ones that are transparent, ones that are going to be really emotionally fulfilling. And so, as Spirit's saying, it's like, and it's often rooted in like the fact that your emotional needs were not met in the past, whether that was from a previous relationship. And remember, if you were not really allowed to have your unique unfoldment process without a parent being like really on top of it and steering you, and if they were coming from a place of fear, it's the perceptions of who you are based on what has happened. This is not who you are. We're explaining what the wounds are in order for you to see, you know what needs to be healed. And what needs to be healed is the fact that relationships are something that happen over time. Trust is something that happened over time. Finding yourself is what needs to happen first. And this is your willingness to learn new things. Finding yourself. See, there's a lot about you that you don't know. So you may feel like, well, if I had that emotional connection, I'd feel fulfilled, where Spirit says you would feel fulfilled only for a partial time, because again, there's fragmentation there, that you have due to not 100% knowing who you are, especially if you grew up in an environment that everyone told you who you are, for the most of your life. So learning new things allows you to not take the focus so much on the relationship. Understand that if we grew up with really like overpowering parents, then we're hypersensitive to, what that parent wanted. So when we get around people that we really, really love and have feelings for, or, are passionate about, we're going to come more from that emotional stance. So Spirit's saying it's like you find your balance where you don't give everything and react because you're so hypersensitive, because you're grounded in learning something new. The fact that the relationship is there is just secondary, because you don't know who that person is. So it just shows relationships tend to go real fast, and you don't realize the person comes in really fast. And when people come in really fast and they want to be your best friend, a lot of time what they're doing is they're scanning your life to see like how they can utilize you, whether it's worth it. A lot of people that are unfortunately like that. And Spirit says, so like when you do what's best for you, you're actually doing what's best for everyone, because you're dealing with people, I feel like, that have betrayed, or like they project, they shows up as like people that try to make you doubt yourself, people that try to make you feel guilty, or try to take you outside your power. It's like, and that's the thing. So you get into a relationship where, again, it's all about that person. So how is it done? Through emotional manipulation. And what it winds up is that the relationship never goes that deep because it's pretty much one-sided. You have to suppress yourself. So Spirit's saying it, and that's because you don't really know 100% who you are. And that only comes through grounding and finding yourself, joining new things, connecting to new people. Otherwise you don't know. A lot of who you think you are is based on what has ever happened in your life. And if for the majority of time someone was telling you what was going to happen in your life or what you needed to do in order to create safety, and you didn't find that out yourself, there's always a feeling of disconnect. And that disconnect from the physical body, and like, I don't really know what's going to happen. Then you're always coming from a place of fear, where really God says, I'm inside of you as a gift of spirit. So only in the now do I give you divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing. So if you're like not present, not connected to your body, then of course you're coming from your mind, and your mind is only knows what it's been through, those experiences. So karmic loops are the fact that their same habits, their same behaviorisms that there has always been. To break the karmic cycle, in order for you to embody a new consciousness, Spirit thing is, you need to join new things. You need to try new things. You need to see yourself differently. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. The universe will always bring you everything that you need to heal. And believe me, and that's to give you emotional fulfillment. So it might not come in like a relationship right away. It might come through meeting your tribe, is what Spirit's saying. But in order to heal that, and the reason why is because, hey, if you've been in like just a karmic cycle where it's like one bad relationship after another bad relationship after another bad relationship, then Spirit's saying, then this is the way that you have to reset yourself. You're not giving enough to yourself. You have to like really be loving your life and like fill your cup up all the way with joining things that are gonna fill your soul up with emotional connections, doing things that you love, things that transcend time and space, that you didn't even realize that you were doing it for as long as you were doing it, because you love what you're doing. It's a passion. And if you don't know what that is, then that's the first place that you need to look, because you'll always be in balance. Then you'll always give too much or not enough. See, we go with the flow of life when we're in the passion for life. The mistake is that trying to figure out who you are before you actually have found who you are, because it's based on the world telling you who you need to be and what you need to have in order to succeed, when really that's you. We're not going to be successful that way. We're successful through the unique unfoldment process that we have, and then in divine timing, right? What Spirit brings to us, because it's a co-creation process where we're becoming the energy of love by doing what we love, and we're transcending the time and space. And then you can have a relationship, because you'll never give too much, and you'll see exactly whether the person is living in alignment. What it shows here is most of the people that you're dating is not in alignment with who they need to be, so they can't treat you the way that you need. So you just always wind up giving into like these relationships and not getting anything back. So Spirit's saying you have to give that to yourself. Like a reset for those of you that keep on being in these relationships that just aren't working. All right. So now, just because it's not working doesn't mean that the person doesn't have feelings for you. Like, you know what I mean? And we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. And it's because, hey, like we care. We want to know. You're like, I love that person, even if they are unhealthy. And understand, if there's many different realities that play it at one time, can you get what you want depending on how you play it, you know? You said we never know where they are, but we can see in the story. that a lot of times you'll get different variations of the story, right? So let's just see where they are, like right now. I don't want to look at any like wound cards or anything like that. I just want to see like where are they? Where are the hidden truths? And the hidden truths are always a good place to start, right? I have only so many bags, so I put double again decks together. All right, so but that one goes in here. Okay, so let's see like hidden truths and just see like what are they thinking about. I know I messed up everything. So I feel like you must have cut your energy off and where this person's finally got the hint because it's like, well, like when there's nothing but a tumbleweed and you hear that doo like kind of like you're in a ghost town. Well, it's kind of like that. Like you're giving nothing. Like, and not just nothing, but it's like ESP through the heart and mind. There was always a very strong spiritual connection. There was always, you're always right there. And the fact that you're not there, I feel like this person's, you know, is they regretting lying to you. I feel like for some of you, this person like was still messing around with somebody else. Um, that's really what I feel, to be honest with you, that this person feels like they, and it's not like they have feel like love. It's more like guilt is what I'm feeling. My life is not as together as it seems. No, they showed you like a facade. And again, they might have told you that they were like on their way out of like a relationship or it was over. And I feel like it was one of those karmic relationships that really should have been over and probably was over 1,000 times, where this person knew that it wasn't 100% over because they never really shut the door fully. It's like, and they keep that person like hanging on the line. They don't give to that person. It's not a healthy relationship. No one's happy, but it's like, when people have been together for so long and have learned to just live so detached from one another, like live in two separate lives. Well, this person thought, I really don't have feelings. But when push comes to shove and this person really goes to leave and do things, it's like it's a different story because it's like, hey, well, now you have to do things on your own. Now you have to, be strong enough to do that. You can't just run to me. You just can't run, and this person knows that because of how you are. And but understand they what they feel like is that they love you. Now, I don't want to downplay it, but if a person hasn't given you time and hasn't given you energy and they were connected to somebody else and they weren't 100% honest with who you are and they pretend to be someone that they're not, because again, their life isn't as together as they pretend that it is. Well, do they really know you? They love a version of you. And that, so you have to be careful with that. And then spirit says, I know I was a distraction from your pain. And that's like, why would you be with me? You would never be with me. You're too good. But maybe you just got out of a bad relationship or didn't get enough love in your childhood, whatever the hell it was. So you didn't notice that this person wasn't giving 100%. I feel like you always knew that they weren't giving 100%, but you made excuses like, oh, the relationship is new. Oh, they don't know. They're getting comfortable. And that's another thing when a person leads by being handicapped, meaning, well, I really want to be in a relationship, but I'm just, can we go slow? Can you be patient? The answer is no. That it always needs to be no. And the reason why is because would you walk onto a car lot with like half the money. It's I really want to pay for the money, but I only have half. They tell you to get the fuck off the lot. It's like, why? Because it's how you feel about yourself. How you feel about yourself. And a lot of people like again say, I just want to be nice. I just want to spirit says you gotta treat yourself like you're the president of your life. It's like, and that's, you only have so much time, energy, focus on money, and you got to say, I love myself enough to hold to a standard. If you can't do that for me, then you don't need to be with me because it means that you're not ready. And that means that I'm accepting that. And then when you get comfortable, it's going to get even worse. Like, meaning you're going to do even less because you came in handicap. No, sorry. Like, it's like, again, what you're showing is like, I know my worth. And you know my worth too. And this person knew your worth. They just didn't want to give it. And that's because they couldn't give it. Not 100%. And they lied. And they say, like, you know what? If I was just truthful, you'd probably still be in my life. And what would be. But now you're kind of looking at them like, what the fuck? Like was that? Which brings up, I'm sure, a lot of shame, which this person already has. But that's the energy there. I'm working up the courage to contact you. Okay, we had to change the deck eventually, but it's like that. It's because this person's like marinating on it, and I feel like it's partially, it's like they can't believe you walked away. They just can't believe it. And I feel like they're like, well, maybe if you saw me, or maybe if you hear from me, and maybe if you were the first person to make me feel this way. I feel like because you're the first person that was like, I see what's going on here. Okay, bye. You can stay there. You know what I mean? Because this person sells themselves as it's like that they're done in a connection, which the relationship is dead. However, it's held together with something, maybe finances, maybe children, maybe whatever, maybe just the fact that, we've been together for so long, there's a loyalty there. But if there's a loyalty there, then there's no space for you. And again, this person coming in handicap sets it up perfect where, hey, well, you're settling for less. You're okay with it. You're being understanding. What you're going to see is over time, you're going to get a lot less. It's like, and that's why I'm saying, where this person sees it, I feel like I can be my true self around you. And that's the thing. It's like this person likes to do what they like to do when they want to do it. I feel like the reason why they're connected to someone that is obviously not a healthy dynamic is because, hey, it's a one-sided, everyone, every man for himself. Relationships are something that happen over time. Trust is something that happens over time. See, this person like wanting to contact you and pop up like in your life is like not, again, like, oh, let's pick it up where we left off. You should say, I don't like where we left it off. So the answer is no. I'm afraid of losing you. Yeah, I feel like that thing is, it's like there's a part of you that's already lost. You inspired them in so many ways. And I feel like that's because you're not afraid to be like it's, I know what I'm deserving of. And you don't mold to the environment. You're not a chameleon. Most of the people that this person dealt with, believe it or not, were chameleons because who's going to be in a connection with a person that's connected to somebody else? I mean, it didn't take long for you to see, they couldn't really ever give you anything. So, you might have never said anything, but your intuitiveness, I'm sure, was like, this person like is like not 100% being honest with me. They're holding back from me. And they were holding back from you because, hey, listen, they can have the best of both worlds. Don't you kid yourself. It's like, but they're not happy. They're not happy. And the fact that you know who they are, that like bothers them. where like, yeah, like this, I feel like even if this person wanted to come towards you, there's a lot of obstacles in this person's way. And it's because, first of all, it's them. It's like, it's, I'm going to leave, I'm going to stay, I'm going to leave, I'm going to stay. It's like, it's the same story. It's like where this person claims to leave, and they might leave for a certain amount of time, but they always go back to that person. And it's like they date who they want. It's almost like, I need a break from you. Let me date whoever. Let me, be in that type of relationship. And then they don't really show up for you. And that you have to settle for a lot less because, hey, they know the whole time that they got someone on the back burner that they're going to be going back home to. So they never really lose, is what I see here. I don't see a good person here. Again, where they're gonna say, that they're gonna want to come back into your life. They're gonna want to, ask ask you for another chance. You know, that's why you're getting this message. This person still has passion and desire, and I just feel like it's because, hey, you didn't give them what they wanted. And so there's a sense that you got away, and you're happy, and the fact that they can't feel your energy, well, then you might be giving it to somebody else. You may be talking to somebody else. So that, it's not that this person doesn't like feel bad. They're ashamed of how they treated you. It's just this person doesn't really care. What they care about is the connection, the spiritual connection, the chemistry, again, and that unconditional love that they've never experienced before, that they're like, I want that, and what they imagined in their mind that was going to bring them. And so I feel like, again, you just saw it, like this person gets out of one relationship and they get, like, it's the same thing. They'll go back to that person. It's like, I just feel like they were going, sometimes when they try to leave that person sometimes doesn't let them leave. I feel like that other times they don't care. And it depends on, the person's mood. It's a real imbalanced type of connection that this person's in. It's become very warped because, hey, there's been cheating. Clearly, if this person says, well, I'm going to take a time out because, hey, we're going to break up now, but then the person's sitting there waiting at home, like at home, it's a very toxic type of thing. A lot of manipulation between those two people, never mind whoever they bring in. I just feel like with you, they happen to meet you and there was a lot of chemistry. Usually there isn't chemistry. Usually this person doesn't care. Usually, again, they go back to their life. It's just, here it is, you took your power back, but there's still this spiritual connection. They never expected to like be affected like this. This is what it looks like to me. It's like, because they say, I never felt like this before. And that's because it was a spiritual connection. And it really, you have to say, well, this person's on a low vibration. And God says, well, why do you think it's all about the passion and desire? That's why you got to be careful, because it's just lust, karmic mate. So it's because the person hasn't taken the time to get to know you. Where, again, here it is, you have a very strong connection to them, but you have to be strong because this person's coming back and they're going to say, I wish I treated you better. I want things to be different. I want things to be different. I can't stop thinking about you, again, and they're going to really pour it on, and so, they're not going to want you to even look at like what has happened in the past, like not even talk about it. And you'll be like, how do you do that? I've been learning about twin flames and it just feels so right to me. That's why you're my person. I didn't see it before. It's like, But again, the problem is that they realize that they've also created a lot of like negative energy with you. Like that there needs to be forgiveness. This person needs to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I'm grateful for you. They need to say those things, and they need to back it up with energy, instead of them just coming back, calling up and saying all these things. They have to actually ground it. And even then, you know, Spirit says, don't let this person back that easily, because their heart is closed. Someone that was willing to do that. I mean, listen, that relationship's been over a long time. They shouldn't even be doing that to that person. It's like they've been like living from their addictions. They've been living from that. They just never expected to have, a connection to that. They never were able to see the difference, because most people like fall for their little trap. So it just gets to that lust level and then it's over. With this, it's like you didn't play along. When you don't play along and there's a spiritual connection, it's like it like grew like a mind of its own, because this person's still feeding it through the thoughts that they're thinking. They can't just shut their feelings off. They may act like they shut their feelings off, but there's is what they see is that energy is still there. It's growing. It's affecting them. They've never dealt with something like this before. So, and that's because the universe will always bring you what you need to heal. And you don't need to, God doesn't really care whether you're going to be with this person. Cares whether this person heals. And what Spirit said is, oh my God, low vibration. It's like they don't even know what a high vibration is. So it brings you in, you're a high vibration, but this person didn't recognize it. That's what it looked like. So I gotta speed this up because my stomach is starting to do flip-flops. Okay. Yep. There it is. All right. So let's look at some of the wounds. Good night. Okay. So Spirit saying ancestral wounds, like you have to clear ancestral wounds, along with, like, again, the alienation wound, which is like the loneliness wound that you pulled before. So it's all in the same thing, that you're the karmic cycles with the ancestral cycles, which, hey, you were born into a family that dealt kind of with the same wound. So in order to integrate the spiritual lesson, that's what you got to do. You got to integrate it. You have to see what the inner child wounds are, and then you have to transmute the negative energy. So when we look and we see, well, what is the inner child wounds, we can pull them out and we say, we're going to pull maybe, I don't know how many that was, but should be around 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what Spirit says is, well, you grew up in an environment where, again, the inner child wound was unworthy, no emotional support. Support is like also the anchor, which is grounded. It's that, and to understand if it's abuse, it could have been like psychological, right? It goes to, emotional, psychological. It doesn't need to be physical. Obviously, if you're made to feel unworthy to the point that on an emotional level, your parents didn't like, you're not doing what we want you to do. We're cutting we're going to stonewall you. We're going to ignore you. We're going to neglect you. We're going to make you feel like there's something wrong. Obviously, it would make you feel like there's something wrong with you. That goes back to that teenager, that rebellious teenager, like wound that you pulled in the beginning, which is just not trusting authority because, hey, look how you grew up. It's like there was a trauma, and the trauma created that disassociation, and that disassociation is not that you don't know what happened. It's that You don't really have an emotion one way or the other about what happened because there's detachment. And so abuse will do that. So you attracted a person that essentially would never really be able to give you anything because they were just being selfish. They weren't really even thinking about that karmic. It's like, yes, they had a spiritual connection to you like they had never had before, but they didn't know how to like deal with that when meanwhile they're connected to somebody else, you know. So growing up in that type of an environment, it didn't mean that things didn't happen, but it's chaotic, you know, because you're being taught that number one, that you don't have the support, that you feel alone as a child, and that makes you feel unworthy. It makes you feel like that there's something wrong with you. Again, misunderstood. And that's the number one reason why too teenagers, like the rebellious teenager, like is the way that they are because they're misunderstood. And so, and how is it normally taken out on them? Well, they're not getting beaten, they're getting emotionally and psychologically like made to feel like there's something wrong with them, made to feel like unworthy. And abuse to the point that there's disassociation. So emotionally, like if I don't um merge to like what you want me to do, then you know there's consequences. So again, love, with love comes with there's it's not, it's what do you call it when they say it's conditional, you know, there's expectations, it's, and that's not love. Real unconditional love, there is no expectations, there is no ownership. And that's what this person that's connected to you is seeing. That it's like, because guess what, they would never want to like even look at the connections. It's easier for them to stay connected to that karmic, you know. That's really what it is. It's like because they can have their cake and eat it too. That's how they thought, and they were living that way mighty fine. So it would have to take someone like a twin flame to make this person. Now that doesn't mean you need to be with this person. What it means is that this person needs to get to a place and be like, wow, there's actually something better out there than being connected to a karmic and getting my jollies off. Maybe again having a real like soul deep connection where they are within their evolution. But what, you know, that's really what spirit's saying is for them to like move out of that low vibe energy is all that really the universe is asking for you. It was to know your worth. You want to be with someone that emotionally doesn't give to you, that doesn't show up for you because they're connected to someone that they don't really like, but it's allows them to like, you know, live the lifestyle without growing up. I mean, really, that's what it is when you're living like that, because you're not making a choice. This person doesn't make a choice. And in that, it's like, it's always going to make you feel like, well, you're not worthy of it. It's like you'll settle for less. You'll settle for the breadcrumbs, which emotionally, clearly, you would not get enough. And so Spirit says that's what that would be. And that would be the inherited ancestral wound. So maybe you grew up with a parents that one parent did everything. Like maybe your father was an alcoholic and your mother did everything. She was like a codependent thing, and she emotionally didn't get anything. So again, that you can inherit trauma where you watch and you inherit the same habits and the same behaviorisms as that parent, or you were made to feel that way yourself. But here, ancestral tells me that you were born into that generational curse, and that generational curse is just not knowing your worth, being codependent, which really, again, codependency a lot of times is built on lust. Yes, there's a spiritual connection, but it's lust. It's like where the person like doesn't build the emotional connection, and you never really met the real person. You met a person who you thought that they were, and it's because they create the illusion. And that's what this person did. They created the illusion to make you perceive that their life was together. And their life is not together, as it seems. It's definitely not, because hey, there's someone on the back burner, and there all the time, and it's so that this person can stay in a low vibe energy. And so, hey, yeah, they have feelings for you, but Spirit saying, understand they brought up a lot of your past trauma. Now, can it work out? For those of you that actually say, well, they are my twin flame, like regardless, and I want to be with them, well, let's see, could it work out? And I'm not saying to be with them or not be with them. I don't predict the future. You get to decide whether you want to be with them. We're just checking to see whether or not it would work out. And, that's it. Like, what is their intention? So, well, right now, there's a lot of self-actualization. They feel like, again, the relationship's in limbo. It's like where they're like, they realize that you're taking time off from the relationship, and they feel like they're taking time off from the relationship. And it's, again, they're doing a lot of reflection right now, but they're not like thinking that it's over or anything. That's the thing. Contracts, agreements, strong connection, union, partnership, counterpart. Well, see, that's the thing. It's like this, they feel you're they're soulmates. And it's like, yes, do things together, but when I don't like the contracts. And the reason why is because this person, that from what I can still see, is on a low vibration, right? If they were in a connection, connected to someone and living like that, and just because you came into their life, they're not healed all of a sudden, right? Because they haven't taken the full time to get to know you. So karmic contracts are not good, because with, yes, the person's a past life soulmate, karmic mate. And so they would bind you to your inner child wound, which we saw that is what Spirit's saying. So it's not, it's like, no, because it's like, it wouldn't work out. Because this person is abusive. It's like, they are who they are. It's like, that is what Spirit's saying. It's like, yes, they have feelings for you, but look how they've been living. They've been living like a one-sided relationship, and that, yes, that other person goes along with it and has learned to live that way too, but it's not held together with love. It's held together with resentment. It's held together, and this person stays in a low vibe while they then pretend to be leaving or leave and then get involved and then just go back. Spirit says it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work out, because this person's abusive. They haven't learned and understand they've gotten in bad relationships where people have tried to, like, mock this person or dishonor this person, punish this person. This person doesn't care, because they have that person at home. And that's the whole thing. It's like, so they'd be coming to you, but they're not like they haven't left that person 100%. It's like they leave all the time, but there's no divorce papers, or there's no finalization. And being that they didn't give enough to you, Spirit's saying, no, it would be a karmic contract, and you would go right back into the inner child wounds, which is the ancestral wounds. Like, if your parents were so caught up in their relationship where, hey, like, it was a karmic contract, so nobody was happy. Emotionally, one person was doing everything, the other person's emotionally checked out. There's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of just negative energy. Well, then the Spirit's saying that how much time and energy can they give to children? And you can't, because there's all that going on. And so you're automatically born into that ancestral, curse. And that's like, again, where you're witnessing that. So thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have, you don't need to go through that trauma. You can watch that trauma and inherit it. And spirit says that's what it would be. And so, but it would nevertheless keep you in the energy that, which is the energy that you were brought up with. And you don't want that. That's the whole thing of it. Because who knows? What I see is that the person, it wouldn't even 100% leave, because it shows like betrayal, and that what other betrayal would there be? It's that. It's that, and that's really what it is. It's like, this person's like, again, tempted by you, but they have very indulgent behavior, and it just wouldn't be good, is what Spirit's saying. It's like, so we look, we see, and we saw why you attracted that person. Now let's alchemize the energy, because it's like, well, then now that pisses me off that they were like that. And Spirit's like, now channel the energy. You're supposed to turn that pain into power. Take all that, that frustration and that anger and that and become yourself, because you understand emotionally why you didn't. So you have to, again, join things, become yourself, you feed yourself emotionally. And then it's also about your unique unfoldment process. It's about, first of all, like you letting go of who you were to realize who you are. And so you have to go through these experiences to become aware of what was actually you was suppressed and wounded, which is, hey, I deserve a lot more than that. It's like, you got a lot of nerve thinking like who you are. And the Spirit saying, yeah, like, know your worth. It's like, and it's not being selfish. It's about saying like, you know what I'm worth too. You just don't want to put in the effort. And if I go along with it, then that's like, then I'm agreeing to that. And no one consciously agrees to it. They're tricked into it. So Spirit says, now it's about shining your light, like really like live your true self, like find yourself, do all the fun things, zany things, like find yourself. It's again, because you're a mayor of what comes into your life. Be real, be authentic. You will pull someone to you that's real and authentic. It's about being true to yourself. I feel like you weren't really allowed to do that. And that's what Spirit said. Remember the overbearing parents, the rebellious teenager, again, the seeing yourself as misunderstood. Well, again, all that needs to go. And Spirit says, be true to yourself, find yourself, because again, you got wisdom now. And that's, and understand in the right time, in the right place, everything happens. So, yes, maybe you're not meeting the love of your life right now, where Spirit says, no, you're in a place of healing, but, and that's by finding yourself, being true to yourself, just letting you see what works for you without someone else telling you to, what works for you. Spirit says you have to be in a place of unshakable faith and believing that if you want to be in a relationship, that relationship is going to happen in divine time, that everything happens for you in divine time. You have to trust fully in yourself and the path and the universe, resilience to persevere, because again, and that's through faith, because it's like, it's a blind faith. It's like that you're believing in something greater and bigger than you, that is moving you, that knows exactly what you want. And you just need to believe that you're deserving of what you want. And part of that was to not accept breadcrumbs, where Spirit says, well, let's give you a test first to see whether or not you believe it. Because, hey, look, your great grandmother, your mother, now let's see whether you're going to pass this test. If you pass the test, well, then you really transcend like life and become truly who you are. And then it's like, you are alchemizing the energy, but it's to take a bold step into like outside your comfort zone. Like understand you don't may not know what you're doing, but risks are going to be rewarding. It's again, go into the unknown, go into uncharted waters. Again, where nobody knows you because people are going to treat you based on who you are today, not the wounds of your past. It's about like finding new hobbies, new interests, people that you connect to. The world's a big place. And Spirit says really filling yourself up and healing yourself. That's what it's called for. Yes, take time out to again tap into the higher self. That God part of self is not just about running around and meeting people. It's about being strong within yourself. But part of getting strong within yourself is grounding and, like I said, going out into the world for you. Because Spirit says now it's again, oh, it's still always again, take time out, but it's about envisioning brighter future. And you can envision a brighter future if you're going into uncharted waters, into places that you've never gone to, and you're experiencing all different things. Like, what do you think that stimulates your imagination? How do you manifest through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you'd have? You said, you know what? I went to a bistro back in 1990 and I wound up buying a bistro. I didn't even think I was going to buy a bistro. I didn't even think about that for like 10 years. You know why? You didn't care about it. Or just like you said, oh, I'm going to travel, or I always wanted to go here, or I always wanted to buy this. I always wanted to have this. We can manifest. The thing is that what it is that you're manifesting, you have to kind of like have it in your mind and then just kind of forget about it. Like, meaning you don't care one way or the other. See, if you want something really bad, it pushes it away, because it's fear. If you like or don't feel like you can have it, it pushes it away. So the best thing is to be least resistance, to do what you love, become the energy of what you love by continually doing it over and over and over and over and over again till you transcend all time and space that you don't even realize how long you've been doing it for. And so Spirit's saying, then you're able to like manifest the life and life that you want to have. But it all starts with being able to envision brighter horizons. And unless you're doing something different, that's not going to happen. And Spirit says, and then it's you that's blocking you because you don't really believe that can happen, where really Spirit says it can happen, but you got to prove that you believe that it can happen. And that's by saying no to this person. It's like, because you already know that they're a shady cat. It's like, yeah, you have a connection to me, but you're connected to somebody else. And you're not going to make me settle for less because I may be your twin flame, but twin flame means that you need to step it the fuck up. And you never did. You stayed in a low vibe, which would make you more mate that chose not to step it up to be twin flame level, which means you get to eat the karma. Bye, bitch. It's like, because you didn't do what you needed to do. I don't have to settle. I don't got to settle for breadcrumbs. I'm going this other route. I'm going in a new direction. It's like you miss out. You lose. I don't lose. It's like I learned. And that's what Spirit says. You never lose. You will learn, but you don't want to learn karmically like this, because this is going into exactly what you had. And Spirit said, no. It's like you have to say, this is just breadcrumbs and I value who I am. And I'm not just going to let anyone into my life either that didn't think that I was, important enough to put the energy into. Really, Spirit says trust life and your strength. Each moment guides you to the light. Everything on your path is placed there for your growth. And what does that mean? Well, we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. We're supposed to be learning that we're not separate from our creator, which is the energy of unconditional love. We are the energy of unconditional love, but we all have shadows due to experiences that we lived and families that we've grown up in, and collectively, like, again, what universe we're born into and what's going on at that time. So Spirit saying this is about right now just trusting yourself again, and that life brings you what you need, not necessarily what you want, but what you need. Remember, to bring you to the energy of love. So if you're saying, oh, I love myself, and you finally get into that energy, then Spirit says, now I believe you, because you're that energy. And you'll recognize when a person is not in that energy. And now it's all about action, that your divine action ignites love and harmony, that you're aware of your thoughts and you're driven by positive forces. So you listen to your heart, your desires to manifest light, transform tests into growth. That, my friend, was a test. And challenges into opportunities, and fear into love. So by you not being with this person and you go into uncharted waters, I guarantee there will be an experience, like lots of opportunities and experiences for you to meet new people and join new things. And like I said, and a whole new world emerges because you passed the test. And that's what Spirit said. This was definitely like a test. And it was all about, like seeing your own growth, of saying, well, the old me would have like been with this person, would have given this person the benefit of the doubt, would have felt bad for this person. And that, but it's again, now Spirit saying, no, see, that you're worth it, that it's about you doing this now. And again, I said this, I believe, yesterday. It's still being about, well, maybe not yesterday, but it might have been like a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever. It's like the being on a solo ride. I feel like that's what you're being called to do. Like it's not about this person. Everything turns to light. So again, everything goes back to, everything on your path. So that's what Spirit just keeps saying over and over and over again. Like, you had to go through this experience. It was a way to break that karmic curse, that ancestral curse, and not pass it on. And it was also a way to, really see your true potential. Again, when you don't have someone that's negative energy holding you back or making you feel that you need to be someone that you're not. It's about finding yourself and really filling your cup up all the way so that you're not even looking for love. It just automatically happens. And you meet your tribe, and you meet things and people that are more in alignment with, again, who you are today, not the ones of your past. Spirit said that's what this relationship was all about. And so a lot of times the devil always comes right before you're about to give birth, new life, new opportunities. But Spirit says, well, that devil also knows what you want, which is passion. So don't mistake, again, lust for love. There would be passion, but it would be short-lived, because that's how lust is. It lasts for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. All right, I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you soon. You guys looking for shadow healing coaching, check out my school. I'm having a class tonight at 7:30. Difference with the shadow healing coaching and the YouTube is, YouTube, we just do readings, and you do learn through the readings, but we do PDFs, a lot of exercises, healing exercises, whether that's cognitive, whether that's therapeutic, whether that's, holistic, to heal the effects of trauma. That's first of all. And then there's also, it's more interactive. I can see you, you can see me, where again, we're talking to each other, and, people get the coaching that they need, where I just felt like I couldn't coach the way that I wanted to. It's been 30 years really collecting PDFs and designing PDFs to like be able to teach, and, and yes, from an unconventional standpoint, which I always thought would be on YouTube, which it is on YouTube partially, but I can't really, it's not a full coaching program, because you can't do the exercises, you can't do the shadow integration, you can't reparent and do the cognitive therapy part and the linguistic part. And there's a lot of, healing modalities to help you to deal with effects of trauma that a lot of times people will not recondition on their own. Because again, you created a bad habit, the way to deal with stress, right? Which trauma creates stress. But you have to recondition the body and mind, and the exercises are what does that. And people, it's like, okay, go and do the exercise at home. They don't do the exercises at home. They're like, that's why I come to the coaching. But unless like you're making them, everyone's doing it at one time, people tend to not do it. It's just a thing with trauma. It's like, do I really have to do it? And understand the body tends to, like to be comfortable, and healing doesn't feel good. So, being consistent and having to do, breath work to slow down when you're a manic type person, which again comes from trauma, you know, or, when you get triggered with OCD and you're being told to like breathe, you don't feel like it. You don't want to. It's like, so again, reconditioning the way that the body responds is not a one and done thing. I wish it was, but it's not. It's like your brain forms neurological pathways, which makes, that reactionary and impulsive, you know, um, like behavior automatic. So what would that be? Offering to like bake those 1,000 cupcakes for the school because Martha said that she needed someone to bake cupcakes, and now you're fucking baking 1,000 cupcakes and you didn't want to do that, but you felt that you had to. It's again the people that always volunteer and then they're resentful that they have to do it, where they're over giving, they're people pleasing. Like that's just one behaviorism. There's thousands of behaviorisms, but thank God you don't have to do 1,000 different exercises. There's only a few exercises, and it's to help you deal when you get into those situations. But it's reconditioning. So I try to make it fun. I try to make it, interactive. And I also have podcasts on this school, which I like. So I can have guests on to do mini readings and stuff like that, which is fun because guess what? The readings that I do on this channel and on school, well, whether you're going through the situation or not, you always learn. And chances are you've been through the experience. You might not be going through the experience at the very moment. But then this way, like I said, you learn. And that's really what it's all about. It's about learning, about integrating the spiritual lesson so that you can really live the best life that you can because you're coming from a place of wholeness, right? I mean, we really are whole. We're not fragmented. We're fragmented from experiences. And without that integration, it becomes bad because, hey, we're spiritual beings having human experiences. There is negative spirits that when fragmentation happens actually attach. That's what attachments are, negative attachments. So if you believe in negative entities and negative energy, well, then you understand how important it is to heal the effects of trauma. Because what will happen is if you don't, you'll continue to relive the same experiences because you're in a stronghold. And that's what makes people really feel like they can't have, and it diminishes that person's sense of self, where they feel like there's something wrong with them. And that to me is the beginning of spiritual disease, because again, we're spiritual beings having human experiences. And when we're not in the energy of unconditional love and we begin to get resentful and angry and all these lower energies, it distorts our perceptions about ourselves, the world around us. And again, we become not clean. We become like the energy of that spirit. So it's a real thing. So again, it's a way to stay spiritually clean. We have to do that now because of the spiritual warfare that's happening on the planet. That silent war, it's a silent war that's happening, and it's an attacking of our mind first by not making us feel safe, by trying to strip us of our spiritual sovereignty. No matter what religion, no matter who you are in the world, you have spiritual sovereignty. You have that. It's like to be able to create your life. But if you're living a narrative that makes you feel something, again, like you can't, well, then it's really important to understand that that's not the right environment and that you got to get out of it. You got to fix things. Otherwise, you begin to form habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with those perceptions, and then you can't manifest, and you don't know why you can't manifest. And it's just because, hey, that's what you've been conditioned. So it's about, again, getting your energy back to that energy of unconditional love, which is the energy of God, which is all knowing, right? We tend to feel like we're not all knowing because we get stuck in a perception. But once we heal, what are we doing? We're seeing a different perception of the situation, right? Integration allows us to not just see it, but actually embody a whole new consciousness, to create a whole other reality, to quantum jump into a better reality for yourself. And we've come to a place within our evolution that we really need to like utilize this energy right now, because we can't trust everyone that's in our environment. We can't trust everyone that's in the government. We can't trust everybody. We have to learn how to trust ourselves, because Spirit said one day heaven will be on earth, but that's through the character of man. But believe it, before there will be a big spiritual war, remember, and it's going to come as a silent war, and it comes through the mind. So it's a way to stay clean. We have to stay clean. All right, I'm going to leave it there, but I'll leave the links and everything in the description box. And until next time, be true to you. All right, I'll be on again at 7:30 on the school platform, and I believe I made it open to everyone. So if you are, interested in learning more, jump on to that platform. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.